Hey guys, my name's Wes, and you're watching Westicles TV, and today I'm reviewing X-Men Apocalypse. X-Men Apocalypse is a 2016 action comic book superhero film starring James McAvoy, Michael Fassbender, Jennifer Lawrence, Nicholas Hoult, Oscar Isaac, Sheridan, Sophie Turner, and many others. It's the latest of a long line of X-Men films directed by Bryan, who did the original X-Men, laid the blueprint for what we now know as the X-Men universe. And there's a lot of things I like about this film. First off being, I think they did just a fantastic job of setting up why the people are following Apocalypse. It was a big fear of mine coming into this movie because is this a mind control thing? We've seen that before. It's lazy. It's not entertaining really to watch. It's like, oh, okay, bad guys because they're following a bad guy who controls their mind. They had a great reason why it'd be Storm because she's a good guy normally, and so I was like, why is she on his side? And great reason for her to follow him. You have a great reason for Psylocke to follow him, and Psylocke is pretty cool in this movie. She's not really used as far as an actress, Olivia Munn, but the action sequences with her are pretty cool. I like that type of stuff that was showing her in that movie. Angel, I've only really seen him in the other X-Men films, so I was like, isn't he a good guy? I love how they used him in this movie, especially when they kind of like go to recruit him, and he's just sitting there, he's drinking, and he's listening to Thrasher music, and it's pretty freaking cool. I really bought that. I really loved how they convinced Magneto to join the group. I mean, is he just following power? Is there another reason behind it? I love how they got him to join. I really just think they did a fantastic job. Michael Fassbender brings a lot to the Magneto character and really does a great job with it. And I think that he's definitely, you can see he's still invested in this character. He's taking this character to his own heart. He's really pushing forward, and I'm going to bring that up again later with another person in this movie. I liked the introduction of the modern X-Men. I mean, this is the X-Men that we all know and love as far as the animated series or the comic books or the original couple movies. But obviously there's a big explosion of Wolverine. We're seeing the reason why Cyclops is the leader of the X-Men. Even though he has almost no control over his powers at this point. We're seeing Jean Grey really coming into her own. She's young. She's having issues with her own powers. We're seeing other characters who weren't given enough screen time in the previous movies. Nightcrawler especially, I think it's got a heavy influence on the future of this franchise. I don't know the actor who plays him. I think he did a good job. I enjoyed his stuff in the movie. I like how they worked as a unit, as a team. I like the youthfulness. There was more fun in certain spots of this movie than there has been in some of the previous films. You got to see some of that. I kind of wish there was a sequence where they were going to the mall. I wanted to see them at the mall. Maybe it's in the director's cut. I hope it's in there because I want to see what happened there just for more levity in this very heavy film. Speaking of levity in this film, there was a great sequence. We saw it in Days of Futures Past where Quicksilver is running around in the kitchen and doing stuff. We get a new Quicksilver sequence. This one is, I don't know if it's as great as the first one because the first one we didn't know what to expect. Could have been really bad. It was really great. I would say this was really, really good because there were some scenes where I'm like, visually, I'm like, it looks kind of like visual effects. It doesn't look as smooth. But the stuff that he's going on, there's a fun music backdrop to it. You can see the characters having fun. It is a great moment of just smiles and fun in the middle of what's a very heavy movie. I overall loved the action sequences. I thought that the fighting sequences, for the most part, there's a small little negative I'm going to toss in later, that I really liked. I liked watching characters just combat each other. I liked watching Nightcrawler and Angel fight each other. I thought the Cyclops and Storm stuff was cool. I liked when you saw them kind of team up and using each other's powers together to do combo moves. We saw it similar in Civil War, how they would like, hey, I'm going to hop on you and we're going to do this. It was similar to that. I liked that. I've always been a fan of just seeing superheroes work together to fight other supervillains who are working together. It was really cool, really action-packed in those scenes. Apocalypse was great. The voice stuff was awesome. The visual, I was worried he was going to be too small because Oscar Isaac had a very big guy, but they really made him big. There's no Ivan Ooze here. I mean, I thought he was godlike, and that was what you wanted. The reason for his being, it worked out for me. Those were positives. I think it's a lot of great things in this movie. But it's also a lot of negatives in this movie. Namely, first being, Jennifer Lawrence is phoning this movie in. I mean, you can tell she really doesn't care about this. We all know she hates the blue makeup. She is not a fan of it, and you can I think you can almost tell when she's in the makeup, like she doesn't want to. There's very limited blue mystique in this movie. It's very short sequences, and I think that she was like, if I'm doing this movie, I don't want this, or I'm never coming back. I don't know behind the scenes, but it seemed like she was doing stuff so she didn't have to be in that at all. She wasn't as other people really in this movie. It was kind of an annoyance. I want to see Mystique for her powers. But with Jennifer Lawrence in this movie, you have to give her an A-list role and a top bill part, and she didn't care. I will say that Jennifer Lawrence phoning it in is better than a lot of actresses trying, because she's just that level of talent. And, I mean, it's nice to see her in a movie, and she does bring star power to it. But I would not be upset at all if they recast for the next movie, just because I want to see somebody who is trying and who can bring something to this role that isn't just, I'm delivering lines because I know that I'm going to be in the trailer to this movie, and I need to deliver lines that are going to be in the trailer. You know, you're an X-Men now. Forget everything you knew before. This is war. Stuff like that, whatever. It felt cheesy. And that's my next negative, is that there were moments in the action that it just slowed, like slow motion. Like literally, there's a scene going on, slow motion, and not because of Quicksilver, just because we gotta add some cool styles to this. It's not 1998. I get it, Bryan Singer, you came out in it's like late 90s. That was slick, that was cool, it's cutting edge. It's not anymore. It looks cheesy, it feels like, kind of like X1 to be honest. I like that movie, but in this, it just kind of felt out of place, especially after watching Days of Futures Past, which the action was great, everything was just freaking fantastic in that film. So it drops it down a little bit for me. There wasn't enough of certain characters in this movie. I mean, it's like 2 hours and 20 minutes long. I would have liked to see a little more of Charles Xavier. I would have liked to see more of Apocalypse using his powers. You get to see a lot of cool, grand gestures with great visuals of him using his powers, but I would have liked to see him use his powers more, him in more combat sequences. We didn't get to see enough of that, in my opinion. Overall, there were a lot of things to like. There were a lot of things that really got my nerves. There was some stuff I want to see more of. Some of the stuff I thought maybe there was a little bit too much of, Jennifer Lawrence. But I did like this film. I smiled a fair amount in certain spots. I felt like it was a very comic book film. It felt a lot like the animated series, which I liked. There was a lot of callbacks to things that people will like. There's some digging and jokes at themselves. There's pop culture references to the 80s. There were things that were really fun in this movie, and that's why I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. There were things I really liked about it, but the things that really kind of bummed me out keep it from being in that like really great movie as an 8 and above. But that is just my opinion. I want to know yours. What did you think about it? Let me know in the comment section down below. Is this like, new director, I want a new story, whatever, or are you just still on board like what's going to happen next? There is an end credit scene, so keep that in mind. If you like this video, click the like button right over here. If you want to subscribe to West Equals TV, click the subscribe button. It's right down there. It's a real easy click. You get all my videos whenever. Speaking of videos, there's a link to another comic book movie right here, probably Civil War. It's right in that area. You can share me on social media anywhere. Helps me out a lot. You can follow me on Twitter at WesNichols14. If you're wondering why I am sweaty, it's because it is hot, and my house is hot, and I'm sweaty, and it's driving me nuts. Thanks for watching. My name is Wes. You watch West Equals TV. Have a great night. Bye.